It's time for our next Disney World staycation.
And we have a room fit for a princess.
Ooh. Hey there, Ma'am Fam. We are back with another staycation, this time at Port Orleans Riverside.
We have already stayed at the sister resort, Port Orleans French Quarter, but I am so excited for the room here. It's one of my most highly anticipated rooms in all of Walt Disney World, so can't wait to get in there. We also have a very fun activity booked later. We'll be bringing you with us for some dining and fun, so let's get to it. Just like its sister resort, Port Orleans Riverside is a moderate resort here at Walt Disney World, meaning it's gonna have a few more amenities than a value resort, but not as many as a deluxe resort, and its price is gonna be in the middle tier as well. Those leveled up amenities include things like boat transportation to Disney Springs, as well as a full sit-down restaurant, boat rides, and a full lounge, the River Roost, which we will be enjoying later tonight. This resort also has a ton of different recreation activities, not quite as many as something like Fort Wilderness, but it does have fishing both on boats and cane pole fishing some days. It has bikes for rent. You can do carriage rides. It's got Surrey bikes. There's a huge pool area. There's just a lot to do at this resort. Now, this resort was not always called Port Orleans Riverside. In fact, when it opened in 1992, it was called Dixie Landings. But luckily, thankfully, it was changed to be Port Orleans Riverside in 2001. Port Orleans French Quarter was simply called Port Orleans when it opened, but they added the French Quarter when those changes were made, and this whole thing was encompassed into the Port Orleans property again in 2001. Now, while Port Orleans French Quarter is surprisingly themed to the French Quarter and New Orleans, Riverside takes place just a little bit down the river. The Sassagoula River specifically is this body of water right here that connects the two resorts. And now you have found yourself in rural Louisiana.
Rural?
Rural. It's one of the words I can't say.
Say it with me now. Roll.
Roll. Rural. Rural Louisiana. We're down the bayou, folks.
Oh, you crushed it. Well done.
Yeehaw! We are rolling down the bayou.
Now, why are you a cowboy
Are there not cowboys in Louisiana? Rural.
You know, I don't know if I've ever met a Louisianan that said yeehaw on the regular,
If
but
you're
I could
from
be wrong.
Louisiana
I could be wrong.
And you've said yeehaw, you drop it in the comments and back me up right here.
Okay.
Anyway, the prices here without any kind of discount start at around $290 in the value season and can go up to a little over $475 in the peak season.
And now with all that out of the way, we are headed into the lobby to get checked in and grab a quick bite to eat because I'm hungry. I have to say that the architecture throughout this resort is really quite pretty for where it is set. And if you look inside of the lobby specifically and get past the beautiful chandelier at the center, you'll see a whole host of different locations. Greenville, Vicksburg, Vidalia, Natchez, Baton Rouge, etc. that sort of loop this upper structure. This is here for a reason. These are all ports that are down the Mississippi River. And Disney has added 2 ports to that list, Riverside and French Quarter.
Making a quick pit stop at Fulton's General Store. This is the merchandise location here before we grab some food. So, as Alan was pointing out, this is all themed to being a port on a river. They have a nice riverboat model out there. So the general store here is themed to be things you may need to pick up if you were traveling back in the day. So you actually have the old farmhouse here where you can see they've got some saddles and things. And then up on the top, you can see they've got goods such as baking goods, bulk goods, dry items, etc. Things you may need to pick up on your river cruise as you're traveling and moving things. But probably most importantly is Huey, Dewey, and Louie right here, which I feel like they're helping. I really do feel like they are helping move these crates. They are definitely not just causing shenanigans. Is the rope going through one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Are we in a horror house? This has turned bad very quickly. No wonder Donald's all loopy. He's just seen a horror. Here we've got Goofy working on something with coal, it looks like, because he's all, the boiler, the engine, I don't know, anything. I've decided it's a furnace, and that's all well and good, but I want to bring your attention to the fact that they have Mickey's nephews, Morty and Ferdy here. This may be the only place on Walt Disney World property that you're going to see Mickey's nephews, and for that, I appreciate this shop. And a little fun bonus fact, Morty is short for Mortimer, which was Walt's original name for Mickey until his wife Lillian said it was too stuffy and they changed it to Mickey because that sounded more friendly. But that's a little nod to the OG of Mickey. But still, I'm tickled that they're here. And they are just pumping away on the furnace, which didn't work out for Uncle Goof. But I do really like the theming here, and also it kind of smells like a barn, which as a horse girl does make me feel like I'm at home.
Now, as Molly mentioned, Fulton's General Store is very well themed, but outside of those themed items that you could pick up at the port, you will find, hello? We're now in hot pursuit. In hot pursuit of Molly finding a beignet all-day Loungefly that I imagine she will be owning at some point, shaking your head no.
I've converted to the fanny, but...
From Loungefly to a Stony Clover convert.
I do have the ears.
That's true, you do.
And I do want the mug.
We definitely have space for it.
Yeah, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, moving on. Before being distracted by the incredible Beignet All Day merchandise, inside here, what you can find as far as Disney merch goes is sort of the standard Disney merch fare. You're going to have the yearly merch line. If it's spooky season like it is right now, you're going to find the seasonal merch, as well as your standard t-shirts, stuffed animals, candy souvenir fare that you would find in the parks. Outside of that, you are going to find items for Tiana, specifically merchandise that you would normally find at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because this is down the Mississippi, or I'm sorry, Sassagoula here in Louisiana. And you'll also find some specific merchandise that has been curated for Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside as well.
As far as the specific Riverside merchandise goes, we have a quarter zip, a corksicle water bottle, ears, mug, Tervis tumbler, t-shirt, polo, a t-shirt with flare, magnet, pin, and a tote. There's also some New Orleans specific things such as beignet mix from Café Du Mont, as well as their chicory coffee and some Louisiana authentic spices. So a very fun souvenir shop.
And lastly, you will find some various sundries items, including food and beverages and any of the last minute sundries that you might have forgotten back at home.
We have popped into the Riverside Mill to grab something to eat. This is the quick service location here. It serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they have a lot of your standard Disney quick service cafeteria style offerings. They've got burgers and chicken tenders, pizza, some pastas, a bakery case. But again, because we are in Louisiana, they have some specialty items as well that you're not going to see frequently. They've got jambalaya, gumbo, shrimp and grits. So a couple of different fun options that you can find here.
From our foray into the Riverside Mill, we have picked up the shrimp and grits, and I mean, this is a massive portion. They actually prepared this fresh in front of me after I ordered it, so it was a little bit of a wait, but I think it's going to be well worth it, alongside of this apple blossom. And Molly exclaimed to me after she learned the price, $3.99, that's a steal, which means we're squarely centered in our 30s now, so...
It was a slight upcharge if you wanted a la mode, but $3.99 for a dessert in Disney World is bonkers. Cupcakes are like $7.
All right, I'm excited to try this. Ooh, I'm a stickler for shrimp and grits, having grown up in the South, so let's see. There is a little bit of ham. Looks like some country ham. There's some green bell peppers. You can see the ground pepper in there as well. And these are some coarse ground grits. There's the onion too, cooked in a little pat of butter.
Is it hot?
Pretty hot. It's made fresh, so I guess that adds up, and I probably should have put on the old thinking cap before just diving into a big bite. All that said, though, really, really a lot better than I expected it to be, coming from a quick service restaurant here at a moderate resort. The grits are cooked well. They are not overcooked. Overcooked grits have a really gummy texture that I find revolting, frankly. This, alongside the butter with the freshness of the green pepper and onion, a nice bit of saltiness coming from the ham, and the fact that the shrimp are pan-fried in front of you fresh with a little bit of butter. This is rich and hearty, and there's so much food, and it is so hot, so I'm going to stir it and let it cool down before I hand the fork over to Molly, because I think only one of us should burn off our taste buds today.
While we let those shrimps and grits cool down a little bit, I'm going to eat dessert first, because you know what? I'm an adult and I can do what I want. I have a fork here, but I'm also like, just get in here. Oh, look at that. That looks so yummy. That's better than I expected it to be, honestly. It's nice and warm. There's a bunch of apples inside here. Nice flaky crust that's holding up well to all the filling inside here. I wish it was a little gooier and more like pie filling. There's more crust than there is filling, so I wish the ratio was a little bit better. But if you like apple pie, those cinnamon, nutmeg, autumnal flavors that come with apple pie, again, you can get it a la mode. I think this is a pretty solid and a little bit unique dessert compared to what you see in a lot of Disney dessert cases. It is not as good as what its sister resort has, which is Beignas's, and I do think it's ridiculous that they don't have them here. Like, it's right there, but you could walk because it's right there. But it is, apple's still good. Now I'm getting pointed at the shrimps. That's better than a lot of full-service restaurant shrimp and grits. And for like $15, that's a huge portion that could easily feed probably more than 2 people, especially if you had sides. Okay, Riverside Mill.
Tasty treats consumed, and now we are out to explore the rest of Port Orleans Riverside. This whole area is called Old Man Island, and the pool here is the main pool of the resort, where you're going to have all of those activities that happen here that are hosted by the resort cast members, including your movie Under the Stars.
It's giving river country in its theme and in its vibe, but in addition to the main pool, you've got like a kids splash area, a jacuzzi, as well as the playground is right over here, and the pool bar, which is called Muddy Rivers.
Aside from the main pool, you also have 5 leisure pools that are located throughout the resort as well. These are typically far quieter and more secluded than that main pool, so if you're looking for that vibe of wanting to lay out by the pool and not have all of the noise of the music and activities, those are going to be where you want to go. All right, we stopped by the Muddy River and picked up 2 Abita brews that are on draft here. Now, Abita is a Louisiana-based brewery. Molly picked up the Abita Purple Haze, and I picked up the Abita Turbo Dog. Turbo Dog.
You're going turbo, are you?
I am going turbo. Turbo Dog. Crushed it. And now we are here in this nice little campfire in the bayou spot that happens from 6 to 7, or as scheduled by the recreation cast members, because it's quite quiet and a little tucked away, so we might taste our delicious beverages. Molly, you're up first.
Cheers. I've had Purple Haze before. It's delicious. It's a raspberry wheat beer. Slightly sweet because of that raspberry flavor, but not too heavy. Can still definitely taste the beer flavor, that nice hearty wheat beer. It's a little bit heavier than I could drink on a really hot day, like I couldn't drink multiple of them, but walking around on this fall afternoon, it is lovely.
I've not had a Turbo Dog before, but I believe it to be a brown ale because it's listed as a brown ale. Oh wow. I'm surprised by how refreshing that is. Normally brown ales are a little bit heavier, and this certainly is a heavier beer, but it's actually really refreshing to drink. Mainly because it doesn't taste it doesn't have that like super nutty flavor that I associate with brown ales. It has it there, but it's very light, and it's caramel on the back end. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not normally a brown ale type of guy, but this might come into the rotation.
Would you say it's turbo-tastic?
Turbo-tastic? Well, joking aside, you're going to try this with the beer in hand? All right, okay, I'm here for it. Good on you.
And with the speed of a mountain climber, we have the influencer, choosing to show the athletic prowess as she makes her way to the top of a children's play place. With a flash of a thumbs up, which is a sign of affirmation and agreement within her species, she is now slowly but surely making her way to a slide. Now, this is a different slide receptacle, more of a stair-like item, as she, with ease, grace, and poise, emerges once more. Look at the pride.
This is really cool. So here is this big, beautiful oak tree, and there's a placard right here that says that on Earth Day, April 22nd, 1991, this majestic live oak was placed in its new home before you. This oak and its companion at the entrance of Port Orleans Riverside each weighed 85 tons and were transplanted more than 13 miles. They have cypress boxes, 22 square feet were constructed around them and beneath them, and the transportation took 3 days. And then Old Man Island, which is this whole section again, was constructed around it, which is amazing. And it's really beautiful.
All right, and after that little bit of a playground moment is over, headed to our room. Now, I pointed out earlier that there is boat transportation to Disney Springs here, but in order to get to the parks like Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, there are buses available here as well. I do have to say that a lot of the landscaping in terms of like how these large oak trees are all planted here, all the foliage sort of providing that nice little shaded area, it's quite beautiful in these nice secluded areas of the resort as you make your way to your room. Molly hinted at this earlier, and if the beautiful banners on the way in didn't give it away, we are staying in one of the royal guest rooms here within Port Orleans Riverside. And now we're just navigating trying to find it. Molly, quite giddy, but it is princess themed, and it has a beautiful view if this is what we're looking out on.
I'm so excited we didn't even go get our stuff yet. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty.
It's a princess room!
Oh. All right, I'm taking it in. Oh, and we even have a nod to some of the princely gentlemen. Confirmed Prince Adam.
That's not his name!
I'm sorry.
I don't accept it. All right, it is time for a rapid fire room tour, royal guest room themed. This room is so cute. I'm obsessed. So many details here. I will say it's not a huge room, so if you've got 4 people fitting in here, maybe a little tight, but it's beautiful. Let's check it out. Alan, what are you reading?
Princess Tiana has left us a note, our friend. Princess Tiana is
Not to brag. A little brag. A little brag. It's cool to be friends with Princess Tiana.
Kind of like a humble brag.
I'm not aspiring to be humble, Alan.
Nice.
Our friend Princess Tiana has written us a letter welcoming us to the royal guest rooms because she is the hostess with the mostest here. And it says that she and her friends have shared wonderful moments and they have given her special gifts, which she's put around the room, and she's welcoming us. And then as Alan pointed out earlier, there are some banners here with some silhouettes of the gentlemen. They do get a nod. I refuse to call him Prince Adam. I'm pretty sure the director of Beauty and the Beast said that's not his name, but the Imagineers put that in here, so I don't know what to believe right now. What I do know and is confirmed is this guy's name is not Ferdinand. Sometimes people say Snow White's prince's name Ferdinand, but his name is quite literally the prince. Some of the details revealing themselves already, like it looks like a Princess Jasmine gave Princess Tiana carpet. Maybe not the carpet, maybe just a similar one. And then here you've got your chest of drawers, as well as it feels like it's an actual mini fridge, not just a beverage cooler. That may vary room to room, but lucky us. Here you have your TV as well, a little bit smaller TV, but it is one of the upgraded ones. You also have a Cuisinart coffee maker, as well as your beverage station. Alan is sitting on another one of the cool details, which you may recognize as the footstool from Beauty and the Beast. And behind him, we have our portrait of Princess Tiana with a frame that appears as though it's been carved by the dwarves, and either they don't know Princess Tiana's initials, or she stole this from Snow White. But we're gonna go with the first one. A very cute detail right here. You've got a coat rack and a little rack if you need to put like keys or phones, but it's got Cinderella's carriage on it. And then we are obviously in a 2-queen room where you've got the beds here, the canopy kind of style royal looking beds with Tiana's initial up there with the T with her crown on it, as well as some beautiful artwork from Princess and the Frog. And then on the other wall here, you have some of the other royal guests. I feel as though the theme in here, yes, it is obviously princess, but I was like, where's Pocahontas? Where's Mulan? Where's Raya? Where's Moana? But it seems as though it's themed to the princesses that like live in a palace, not everyone that's under the Disney princess name. How's the bed?
It's like a 6.5.
Is it firm?
It's pretty firm, and then you sort of like just squish into it. 7.
We've moved up. And as always, hey Disney, tell us a joke.
You know why Cinderella's soccer game got called off?
Why?
Because her coach turned into a pumpkin.
Hey Disney, tell us a joke.
I heard what Olaf is up to this weekend. No big plans. He's just gonna chill.
I saw a button and I pressed it.
Ah!
And the fireworks go.
Aww. Magic. Wishes.
Dream a dream. Oh my goodness.
One's gotta be Ray, one's gotta be Evangeline. That's what I'm gonna tell myself. Dads, Here's your thermostat for the old school style air conditioning unit. And now we move into the bathroom, which does have a privacy curtain right here, as well as a door to section off this part. You've got a dual vanity right here with a, not horrible, but has a diffuser attachment, which I appreciate. I'm gonna give that like a 7 as far as the hairdryer goes. Safe ironing board, extra pillows and blankets, hangers. Now, friendly reminder that the housekeeping service varies based on what kind of room you're staying in, whether it be a deluxe, moderate, or value. Here, you only have full housekeeping every other day. Look how cute. The sink is the magic lamp from Aladdin. Fun fact about Aladdin, that is the first Disney princess movie where the princess is not the title character. And then we've got the royal throne, definitely not H2O products, and your shower. Additionally, there are some very cute details on the shower curtain here because we're in the bathroom, so it's water themed. You've got a starfish, a dingle hopper, and a snarfblat, and a sand dollar, all from The Little Mermaid. One more cute detail, if you look up at the kind of crown wallpaper, I guess you could call it. Here in the bathroom, you're gonna have little sidekicks and friends of the princesses enjoying water. So you've got Pascal, you've got a turtle and a chipmunk from Snow White, Scuttle and Sebastian, as well as Ray, kind of all hanging out in a water-themed design. And then out here, if you look at that same area, you've got, it's supposed to look like it's carved out of wood, but you've got some other characters. You've got the Three Good Fairies from Sleeping Beauty, Aladdin's lamp, Jacques and Gus Gus with Cinderella's glass slipper, and Chip carrying the rose. These rooms are a little bit more expensive than a standard room. The price range on these is $353 to $554 for a room without any kind of discount or anything. With our annual pass discount after taxes and fees, we paid $322 for this room. So you can actually get these at a pretty good rate. And again, while they're not huge rooms, while they're not the most tech savvy rooms on property, they are so fun and so themed, and I would have lost it even more than I did as an adult if I was a little kid and came in here and this was the room I got to stay at Walt Disney World. I've decided to call them the Palace Princesses because like all of them have their palace in the back. You see what I'm saying? These are the Palace Princesses, which sounds like a cool group to be part of.
All right, now before our fun special activity that we're having, we are headed to the River Roost Spirits and Victuals for a drink and an appetizer and just to sort of relax and hang out and enjoy the vibe. Now, on select days, there is a very popular entertainer here called Yeehaw Bob that comes and performs. Unfortunately, he will not be here while we are staying here, but we're going to enjoy the River Roost nonetheless.
The fun theming continues here in the River Roost with things like the commodity board of what's being shipped out from port to port, and you got some jazz music playing, and you have a traditional Disney cocktail menu, which you're going to see at most of the lounges around property. If you have found a favorite Disney cocktail, like I enjoy the smoked turkey or the spicy poblano margarita, they've got that as well as a nice wine and beer list, but they also have an exclusive signature list to the River Roost, which has a variety of specialty cocktails, Sazerac, Hurricane, Boulevardier, all things you're not probably surprised to see in a Louisiana-themed location, as well as a couple more Abita varietals. And then they also have some munchies, a charcuterie board, andouille nachos, barbecued wings, and spoiler alert, what we're about to eat, the pimento cheese fritters. And our cocktails have arrived. I'm going to surprise every single one of you and tell you we got the whiskey and bourbon-based cocktails. It is a shock. I know no one saw it coming. Starting with mine, that is a Boulevardier. It's got Buffalo Trace, Kentucky Straight Bourbon, Campari Liqueur, Carpano Antica Formula Sweet Vermouth, garnished with an orange peel and a Luxardo cherry. Alan has gone for the Sazerac, which is made with Knob Creek Why whiskey?
Why whiskey?
Why whiskey? Why whiskey?
Because whiskey's tasty, that's why.
Knob Creek Rye whiskey, agave, and some bitters with a splash of Pernod. Pernod? I don't know how to say that word, but we're going to roll with it, say it with confidence, and try these bevies.
I present to you the Sazerac. I guess I present to me the Sazerac. Cheers. She's very direct. This is an incredibly whiskey-forward cocktail. You can taste the rye whiskey right off the bat. It does have that acrid bourbon alcohol-forward flavor, but that quickly fades away to the very spice-forward, so like the cinnamon spice of a rye whiskey. And then it's followed with a little bit of citrus flavors, that citrus zest, and some bitterness from the Pernod. A Sazerac is a classic cocktail. Often it is paired with absinthe to give it a very deep licorice flavor. And there is some of that star anise flavor here from the Pernod, but nothing near as deep as you get if it had absinthe in it. I think if you enjoy rye but don't like black licorice, then this might be the Sazerac to try.
That has bourbon in it. I think actually what's hitting me more than the bourbon, it's very, very bitter from the Campari. Give it a stir. There we go. It needed a stir. If you don't like that bitter flavor from Campari or like Aperol, this is probably not the cocktail for you. I love an Aperol Spritz. This is definitely more bitter than that, but once I've stirred it, I can taste a little bit of sweetness from the bourbon to help balance it out. It's cutting the alcohol flavor, like the burning alcohol flavor, and replacing it with that bitterness, but overall, a very good Boulevardier. But I'm still an old-fashioned girly through and through. Our fritters have arrived. It looks like they've got some pepper jelly on top. And I'm guessing some kind of like Cajun aioli situation on the bottom. I mean, look at that. It's fried cheese. What's not to love? Pimento cheese is a southern delicacy that I was introduced to in college when I went to Clemson. Alan grew up eating, being from Alabama. And it is, if you've never had it, it's made from shredded cheese, primarily cheddar, and then pimentos, which are like an olive relative, as well as mayonnaise, of course, because it's southern, and a spice mixture. And sometimes they make it spicy, like they'll throw in some jalapenos in there. It's delicious, and it goes really well with pepper jelly, which my aunt makes the world's best pepper jelly. I'm sorry to anyone who wants to argue, that's just factually true. And it is like a sweet and spicy jelly that goes on top, and then they're fried, they're crispy, they're cheesy. You do have this nice like Cajun remoulade on the bottom. These are an A-plus delicious southern treat right now. I'm in a good place.
Now, I don't want to start an argument in the comments, but I kind of want to, so let's do it. This might be something, Molly, you can, of course, give your opinion if you wish. For those of you who are from the South, I need to know, are you a Blue Plate family or are you a Duke's family? This is important information.
I don't like mayonnaise, so.
Well, neither's not a correct option, so I'm so sorry, but you have to be voted off the island.
Dukes, I guess.
How dare you?
Or not. You know, I thought you were going to try to argue with me about my aunt's pepper jelly, and I was going to be like, I've seen you eat a jar.
I could eat a jar with a spoon on my own.
Yeah.
So
So.
I will not argue that at all.
Yeah. And now I'm tickled. I am so thrilled. We're going to check something off the old Disney bucket list, and we are going to go on a carriage ride with one of the Disney horses. They have carriage rides available here as well as Fort Wilderness, and somehow I've never done this, despite being both a Disney adult and a horse girl. The carriage rides are $65 for the whole carriage. It's not per person, and you can fit up to 4 adults or 2 adults and 3 small children in each carriage. It is about a 25-minute ride, and we booked ours to hopefully catch a little bit of the sun setting. I don't really understand time, but hopefully that'll work out for us. And I'm so excited to learn a little bit more about the Disney horses because they're so beautiful and they are pampered little angels as they should be. And I feel like some of these horses are also the Headless Horseman horses because they're all dark bays. So I'm excited to learn more about whatever horse we get. Reservations aren't required, but highly, highly recommended, and we've seen it book up time and time again. You can book them through the app. Just one reservation is needed. That will cover the whole group. Again, $65 for up to 4 adults. And, pro tip, thanks to John, our cast member server in the River Roost, if you ask nicely, they'll pour your drink in a to-go cup, and then you can bring it on the carriage ride. That's Jet, and I love him.
Jet is very cool.
He's such a good boy.
We love Jet.
He's so handsome.
Those carriage rides, I think, I would file that under a very unique experience that you wouldn't expect that you could get here at Disney, but you can, both here and elsewhere at Fort Wilderness. So it's so fun.
As a horse girl, I just love being near these big, beautiful creatures. And it was really fun to talk to our driver, Kate. She was phenomenal, and just learn a little bit more about the horses that they have at Disney. They have almost 100 horses.
Which I don't know why. In my head, I thought it was like 24.
They have so many horses because they do trail rides, they do pony rides, they have the horses that are the Headless Horseman horses for the not so scary. They have the white ponies that pull Cinderella's carriage. They have ponies that do weddings. Like, they have a lot of horses. And these horses, y'all, we asked about how they're taking it. They live like kings.
Honestly, I
wish I was a Disney horse.
I'm jealous.
They
I
get
have some
like
envy.
spas. They get weekly vet visits. They get like.
I also love, and this
I
might
love
just
them.
be a me thing, I love that there are some horses that just don't like Main Street USA.
Jet, he doesn't like Main Street, so he
And
likes
so
to do
he
the
does.
carriage
So he
rides.
doesn't go to Main Street, and like
I get it, Jet. Sometimes
Jet?
Magic Kingdom is overwhelming.
you just
so
it's
I
like
get it.
A lot of stimulus there.
I get it, and I just think, and they have each horse has like a person that looks out for them, and it was really fun to talk to them about that. You can ask the driver whatever questions you want, or you can just enjoy the beautiful view. We actually went over towards French Quarter and walked through that way, walked along the river, and it was just beautiful. We had our drinks, and it was like a fun, lovely thing that you can do. Very unique, as Alan said, to just a couple of the resorts here at Walt Disney World.
But with that, we are headed to Boat Rights for dinner.
Yes.
So, shall we away?
We shall. It's right there.
Boat Rights, as the name would suggest, is themed after a shipbuilding house, and it is some southern dining fare, and it is a full-service restaurant here at Port Orleans Riverside.
Taking a look at the Boat Rights menu, you've got a couple of fun appetizers. You got those pimento cheese fritters we had earlier, as well as shrimp, a plant-based salad, and French onion soup. That sounds divine. And then, as Alan said, it's Southern cooking. So you're going to have things like jambalaya, a crispy Cajun chicken, red beans and rice, shrimp and grits, and also a Taste of the Bayou All You Care to Enjoy platter, which you can get for $36 a person, which comes with a variety of proteins as well as sides. You've got some enhancements like fried okra. And then on the back here, we have a couple of specialty cocktails. Some of them are the same as we saw at the River Roost, but some of them are unique, like the bourbon peach tea and the whiskey sour. They again have a variety of Abitas on draft, a couple of zero-proof cocktails, and then of course things like sodas and coffee. But you can get chicory coffee from New Orleans, which is fun. I started with the French onion soup au gratin. This is Gruyere cheese and caramelized onions and a rich beef broth with a toasted crouton. And the menu notes that it's reminiscent to Pierre d'Or's home village. Now, Pierre d'Or is one of the founders of the resort, along with his French settler buddy, Philip Lean. Get it? Orleans? They didn't really break any brain cells on this one, but it is fun to know there's a rich, thriving backstory about this hotel. This was very delicious French onion soup. There was a mountain of that nutty, salty Gruyere cheese, and then you had the rich kind of sweet onions and the beef broth. It was a little salty, but not overly done. It was just a very hearty and warming, delicious soup.
And for my appetizer, I once again picked up the pimento cheese fritters. These are house-made pimento cheese fritters with a pepper jelly. And just like they were before earlier in the day, just as delicious now as they were then. I just can't get enough of this. It's a nice cheesy interior with a pepper jelly exterior that's just quite addicting to me. Now for my entree, I picked up the crispy Cajun chicken. This is spicy battered chicken breast, red beans and rice, and collard greens with house-made pickles. I'm not going to lie to you, I got this because I wanted to sample the collard greens here, and they were fine. I think what shined here were the spicy battered chicken breast because it actually did have some heat. It was heavily coated in that Cajun spice. The only knock I'll give it is that while the chicken was moist on the interior, the breading did fall off a lot. The best thing on the plate, though, was red beans and rice. The rice was light and fluffy, not super sticky, and the beans were cooked perfectly. I always worry about them getting too mushy, and then it was spiced with just enough of the Cajun spice to have a little bit of heat on the back end.
And I went for the Boat Rights jambalaya. This is a slow-cooked spicy shrimp, andouille sausage, and chicken served over rice. This was actually very delicious, and much like Alan's, I was surprised that it actually had a little bit of heat, primarily coming through those slow-cooked spicy shrimp. They were all cooked well, nice and juicy, not too fishy. I also really enjoyed the sausage that had been cooked in that tomato broth with the rice. Overall, a well-spiced and balanced dish, definitely hearty, and I think you could share it if you also did an appetizer. And taking a look at the dessert menu, or should I say the finale from the Dessert Sisters. Again, genius names going on here. They have things like a cafe au lait pâte de crème, a banana cream pie cheesecake, a pecan pie tart, and what we ordered, the praline bourbon bread pudding. This has a pecan praline sauce, bourbon-soaked raisins, and vanilla ice cream, and this was delicious. I would say my favorite thing I had at the dinner, except for probably excluding those pimento cheese fritters again. The bread was nice and fluffy, and I liked the bourbon-soaked raisins, which weren't too sweet to help combat that very sweet pecan praline caramel sauce that's got that kind of stick-to-your-teeth flavor going on, and then it was all balanced out nicely with vanilla ice cream. Not the best bread pudding on property, that's still Ohana, but definitely a delicious, delicious dessert.
All right, well, that was quite tasty. I'm very full.
I don't think Boat Rides is a restaurant that you should go out of your way to go to necessarily, but it is a good comfort food southern style restaurant, and if you're staying here or at French Quarter, it's easy to get a reservation, and the food was good and surprisingly had a little kick, which isn't always the case.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's nice to have some food with a little bit of spice in it. Also, the portion size is quite large. I'm very full. Ready for a nice little snooze.
I feel as though it is required of us to watch a princess movie while we're sitting
We already have Cinderella on, to be fair, so...
Yeah, we already put that on. Yeah. But we will see you in the morning.
Good night. Good morning. Well...
I don't think these are queen-size beds. They might not be billed as queen-size beds, but they're not.
No.
But it was comfortable enough.
Yeah, pretty comfy.
You know, it's fine.
You know what I'm in the mood for, though?
A Disney breakfast?
Yes, please.
Now, of course, our recommendation if you were staying here for breakfast would be to take the short walk or boat ride over to Port Orleans French Quarter and have some delicious beignets and a coffee at Scat Cat Cafe. But considering this video is about Riverside, we're headed back to the Riverside Mill to pick up some breakfast. Much like any of the other quick service locations on property, you're gonna have your classics like Mickey waffles and pancakes, as well as savory dishes such as omelets, tacho bowls, and breakfast sandwiches.
All right, now we have picked up our breakfast orders. Tried to switch things up this time. I got the breakfast tacho bowl, and this, much like the shrimp and grits portion size, is quite large. I'm looking forward to digging in. That's just a whole host of items that I love to eat at breakfast. Molly, what'd you pick up?
Also in the spirit of trying things different, now normally I go for the kids meal with the Mickey waffles, but today I got a savory kids meal, which is the eggs one. You get eggs and then 2 sides. I went for potato barrels and sausage. Also, it always comes with a drink, so I got a water with the kids meal, but obviously also a coffee. I have to say, con for this resort, they do not have any cold brew, which hurts me a little. Those taste like scrambled eggs. This is fine. It tastes like all the things that it is. It's eggs, sausage, and potato barrels, and it tastes like very plain egg, sausage, and potato barrels because it's aimed at kids. I've got hot sauce here I'm going to zhuzh this with, which is going to help. And I might even steal some of Alan's gravy to help. If you just want protein and you just want a basic breakfast, or your kids want a basic breakfast, this is going to do the trick, but there's nothing special about it.
All right, now this tacho bowl comes obviously equipped with tachos, potato barrels that are on the bottom, sausage gravy, bacon, cheese, chive, and egg. And it looks to not have held any of this back because I'm just sort of digging through here, and that gravy goes all the way down to the bottom. So I'm gonna try to get a decent bite here. Just taking far more effort than I anticipated.
Really? Are you okay?
You know, it's so much. Okay. This is very hearty. And I think for the first time ever on a Disney dish, I'm wishing that it was salted more, specifically the sausage gravy, which I understand why they go light on the salt with that. That can get super salty really fast. All this together, I mean, this is just a very hearty stick to your rib situation. The tater tots are the potato barrels are maintaining their structural integrity. This is a good combo. Portion size wise though, certainly one you can share. And much like Molly said about hers, I think it needs some hot sauce. All right, well, that was fine.
As always, the quick service restaurants for breakfast, they offer basically the same menu at all of them. Yeah. And it's, like Alan said, it's fine if you're looking for something quick before going to the parks, or it's your resort day or your checkout day or something, but there are a lot more unique breakfast offerings around Walt Disney World at the different hotels and in the parks.
I will give credit where credit is due here, though. That tacho bowl was a surprise.
That was nice. Yeah. That was nice. If they have that where you are, then I recommend it.
Maybe pick that up.
And again, beignets, just right over there.
Yeah, just around the river bend.
That's the real move.
Yeah. All right, well, that is a wrap on our stay here at Port Orleans Riverside. What'd you think?
You know, this has never been my favorite resort, but I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of things. I think it's beautiful. It's the trees and just the landscape. It's a very, very pretty resort. I think some of the food and drinks surprised me. The drinks at River Roost were really good.
Yeah.
Pimento cheese fritters, never going to be mad about those.
I think the shrimp and grits here at the Riverside Mill were actually really good for a quick service option.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I loved the carriage ride. Obviously, a horse girl, I'm going to fall in love with anything horse related, but it was a fun, unique activity and a nice way to spend part of the evening.
And I think in general, there are a lot more recreation activities here than you're going to find at other moderate resorts.
Yeah, I like that you could go fishing. There's multiple pools, cane pole fishing too. Just lots of things to do if you're having a nice resort day.
That said, though, there are some cons
There always
to
are.
Riverside. I think in general, this is one of the larger moderate resorts, which means it has its own internal bus loop. And outside of boat transportation to Disney Springs, you only have bus transportation to the parks, which means you're going to have to factor that time in when you want to get there if you're there for, say, early entry.
Also, this resort is fine, but I much prefer the theming over at French Quarter as well as like Coronado Springs when looking at the moderate resorts. That's just a personal thing, but I prefer the vibes over there. So I personally would always pick French Quarter over Riverside because it is also smaller, which makes it easier to get around. Like Alan was saying, and beignets are very important to me.
Yeah. I would also say the rooms are a little bit dated, especially when compared to even the all-star resorts that we've stayed in that have been updated recently.
Yeah, I personally have a hard time justifying the cost of a moderate resort sometimes because I'm like, I either want to save money and stay at a value resort or spend a little bit more money and stay at a deluxe resort. But I will say the princess room was really, really fun.
Very cute.
And I felt like a fair price. And if young Molly would have lost it. So I do think the theming in those princess rooms is another perk of staying here if you book one of those.
Sure. But with all that, let us know where you would like us to stay. Next time we are working our way through the moderate and deluxe resorts. We've actually already finished all of the value resorts though, so we're making our way.
And we already have our next one booked. It's coming up very soon, and I think it's going to be a wild time. We're in Fort a Treat. Yeehaw.
The most subtle of hints ever given,
Bet
friends.
no one's figured it out.
Nope.
These hints.
Nope. Until next time, friends, please be sure to like this video, subscribe if you're new, follow us on all of our socials, and come join with the Man Fam in the conversation on Discord. We'd love to have you there. Links for all that are down below.
And until next time, friends, I'm Molly.
And I'm Alan.
And it has been so magical.
Bye.